Would you like to talk a little Smackdown before we're done here today?
A little Smackdown, because that's about all that was worth watching.
Boy, right when we get to the point where we're saying, ay caramba and bravo and all these other things to the WWE, oh boy, some of the things that I wrote were, are they serious? For real? Are you kidding me? What the f***? I'm f***ing done here. I f***ing give up.
And that was just the opening segment.
Well, I wasn't writing much during the opening segment because my jaw was hanging down to where it was weighing down my hands. But just when we had been complimenting them, well, at least the WWE now, it's more for adults. It's more, it's more logical. It makes more sense. They're not doing that fucking male model bullshit that Vince was fixated on and all that other silly nonsense. They come up with a goddamn all-star award-winning first segment for silly fucking phony bad wrestling. But they were in Orlando, by the way. And they were for this show, they were sold out 15,254 is what they said. Are they lying or are they telling the truth? Do we know do we have that confirmed?
I can see what we can find out.
Well, get your hand off your organ and pull up your Google and see if we can find out how close that is to true. But they had a big fucking house in Orlando, Florida, which is actually figuring in to something several months down the road, is it not? Should we reveal that now?
We can reveal that now. They announced that they're returning to Orlando for a big show at the end of the year. And it just turns out it'll be head-to-head with AEW's World's End pay-per-view event 20 minutes down the road.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
How do you see this? For the people that think WWE's being petty by doing this, for the people that think there's nothing wrong with it, what's your take on running direct opposition to the other company when they're doing a pay-per-view?
Well, the conventional wisdom for a while was, for a lot of companies, was don't run the same night as, another show, a WWE show, because it'll kill your fucking show, right? When there were territories, Vince was willing to lose money sometimes to just go in and run against the local office, but unless it was an ongoing promotional war, most time you didn't want to run up. But now they realize we can just obliterate these fuckers. We can just obliterate them. And at this point, they're asking for it. Their old Yeller is about to wander out behind the barn. So I'm not surprised, and they will obliterate AEW. Go ahead.
And for the record, Jim, this show at the Kia Center, this WWE Smackdown, August 16th, 14,136 tickets distributed. The previous time there, July 2023. For Smackdown also, 12,287.
So the WWE owns Orlando, regardless of what anyone says, whether it's 14,000 or 15,000. So they bumped it up about 1,100 just to get, I guess, all of the concession workers and the ushers and everything. But
should Tony one up them by booking a stadium in Orlando against them?
Oh, I'm sure I bet the WWE would love Tony to book a stadium in Orlando, Florida. Again, spend them. We know you have plenty, but spend it. Just spend it.
Why doesn't, he could do like his own like WrestleMania 2, but instead of 3 locations, it could be like 9 locations. 9 stadiums, one day. No one's ever done it before.
Every match in a different place. You'll see it all on a big screen. Oh, God. Anyway, back to SmackDown and the opening segment. Tiffany Stratton was in the ring with Puny and Dull. What are their names? Elton John and Sly Fox.
Until you said that, I forgot that one of them's named Elton. But no, I just know
Yes.
them. They're purely deadly, but I don't know their actual name. Is it
Elton and Foxy. Well, regardless of what
Foxy?
the other one's named Foxy or Fox or Fucker. I don't know. Meet the Fockers, whatever. And it's fucking just horrible because it's one of their. Somebody thought this was funny or would be funny. Maybe then they don't want to admit that it didn't come off afterwards.
Watching this, I thought Vince was in charge.
Well, that's the problem. Is it was like the worst events had come back, and they introduced the refrigerator, and I wrote, "Oh hell no!" And did you see they were trying to give the impression that they were carrying her out on a throne because she's the king of or the queen? Well, maybe both, the queen and king of the ring. She's the queen of the ring. She's the one. And like they've carried Lawler out before, like didn't they carry Owen Hart out like that one time?
Well, they used to do these coronations for everyone. And,
yes.
Haku had one on TV after he got the crown from Harley Race. And then there was one for King Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That was quite the show. And then the Macho King, Randy Savage, had the genius read a poem. And that was one of the rare appearances of the Widowmaker, Barry Windham, one of the great gimmicks that never got fleshed out. And then it went away, and then it became the King of the Ring. Whoever won the King of the Ring. You remember Bret Hart got attacked by Lawler on the stage, accepting the crown and the robe and the scepter.
Yeah, well, and remember one time they had the guys carry Lawler out, and one in front took a bump and he fell off the thing. Yeah.
No, they used to carry out Randy Savage and Sherry. I think that was the best usage ever of the throne.
But the point is, it was always like 6 job guys and dressed up in whatever, carrying on their shoulders the sticks that the throne sits on and blah, blah, blah. On this one, they just said, oh, fuck no. We're not even going to try. They disguised the wheels underneath black curtains and had fake handles. So these 4 fucking job guys are just rolling. Because it would have been like the weight of the throne and the platform plus a refrigerator. So they rolled her to the ring, and it's a white throne. She's wearing all white, and the white apron, it looked like an ice cream truck wearing a crown.
Come on.
And and they get her in there.
Mr. Softy?
I'm sorry?
Mr. Softy?
Oh, no, Miss Slurpee is, and then I wrote these 2 fucking guys need to go to AEW because they make Maddie and Nikki, the Hardley Boys, look like Hell's Angels.
It's the same kind of acting. I know that the Young Bucks aren't like that kind of gimmick, but it's the same kind of acting.
It's the same silliness. And so then they do the thing where they sing a song to the refrigerator. They're supposed to have a Broadway musical or the Purely Deadly or Pretty Dreary or whatever, the musical. And they put on the wireless mics, the headset mics that, like Madonna uses or whatever in concert. And they're supposed to be singing badly. That's part of the entertainment, right? Problem is they're singing badly and it's not entertaining either. Nobody wants to see this shit. And then suddenly Mia Yim came in and beat everybody up with a kendo stick.
Biggest babyface pop she's ever had in WWE ending this.
Yes, just to get it fucking over with. But I can even understand them pushing Jax because she is big and massive and whatever the fuck, and presented seriously, you can believe that she's hurting people because she probably is. But what audience wants to see these 2 fucking Smurfs in there yapping it up?
This goes to those conversations I have about the bad women's segments in AEW. The stuff with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, I think people can kind of understand and relate to. She stole her man. They're different personalities. You want to see them fight. But when it's segments like this, when it's bad comedy, you really have to ask yourself, who is this being written for? Like, who do they think the audience for this is, other than the people being held captive in the arena waiting for the main eventers? And again, it was Vince style, old school Vince style, bad comedy, not worth it.
And with Tiffany, she's over the top trying to be, she's annoying enough. But
and she's good in the ring.
She's trying so hard. But yes, but I mean, the whole thing.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem. They have her hamming that up all the way. She's good in the ring. If she toned that back to be a little more realistic, I would personally like it better. But the whole thing with her and Nia, it's like a female division Miz and R-Truth. It's just, these two wacky buddies hanging out in the back. What kind of misadventures are they going to have? There's so many like bad buddy movies in WWE. And this is one of them.
Wacky buddies.
And by the way, if you're purely deadly, what are you thinking about your career right now? Yeah, you're working for WWE and you're making money, but like, how are you going to recover from this when you're done? The way they're treating you on there. Now you're just taking bumps for Nia Jax after singing to her.
Hey, at least when you're the jizz mopper at the porno theater, you're not on national television doing it. You can maintain some kind of anonymity when you don't want people to know that you're a goddamn putz that gets made a fucking fool out of every week.
The one good thing is it's nice to see Michin get used well in a segment, as she was here. That's the only
Mia Yim.
Well, they call her Michin. That's her WWE name, Michin.
That's just a nickname.
It's like she said her name to someone who couldn't hear. What's your name? Mia Yim. Oh, Michin. All right,
so you're blaming Vince again.
Michin.
The egg. Fritz von Erich couldn't hear at Thunder.
Fritz von Erich couldn't hear an egg. He couldn't hear thunder? Is that what you said?
I said he couldn't hear at Thunder. That's a phrase, a figure of speech. He had two big fat hearing aids behind each ear. In 1985.
And he talked like this. Hey.
And he talked like that.
Hey, come here, nerd. Come here.
But every once in a while, when he'd turn a certain way, they'd whine. Maybe they were catching some kind of radio transmission.
Who had the worst cauliflower ears you ever saw in person?
Oh, good Lord.
Like, how's Bruno versus Pat Malone? How do they compare?
Pat Malone was pretty fucking cauliflowered. Now, he wore the hat most of the time, so it didn't stand out. But, yeah, Bruno still looked human. One of Pat's ears was really bad. And Rick Steiner has a horrible-looking one, doesn't he?
I have to pay attention. I haven't paid attention.
Danny Hodge didn't have the most attractive ear. And what about Paul Bosch? Lou Thez?
Well, I think Paul Bosch had big ears to begin with, and then
yes, he did. And they hung down. What about not Buzz Sawyer, but Terry Sawyer? Remember the amateur Terry Sawyer that worked a lot with Thez and he had a run here in Memphis in '78.
The problem wasn't in the early days of tape trading. Technically, the late days of tape trading in the '90s, when some of that stuff from the late '70s in Memphis first started making its rounds around off the U-matic reels or whatever they were. People thought Terry Sawyer was Buzz Sawyer.
Yeah.
There was, other than the fact if you saw Buzz Sawyer in '79 and his hair and his body type, they didn't look alike. But you could see the mid-'80s, late '80s Buzz Sawyer, if he was trimmer, kind of looked similar to Terry Sawyer.
You would. It was kind of like you wouldn't believe that Ali Vaziri was the Iron Sheik, and when you put pictures of them side by side, that was the same thing with Terry Sawyer in 1978 and Buzz Sawyer in 1990.
Remember when everyone thought Haku? Everyone, the people in the magazines and some dumb fans thought Haku was Lenny Hurst.
Yes, who was I believe from Jamaica, right?
And he had wrestled, 15 years earlier.
And Jamaica is a completely different ocean from fucking Samoa.
That's right. Or Tonga.
Well, they're still different oceans. And I get the Tonga just gets thrown in with Samoa. But there's also Fiji.
That's right.
So we got to narrow this down. Folks, this is better than what was next on SmackDown. Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. I wrote, are they serious with this show? I will admit that after Hayes caught a quick one, as Vince used to say, 1, 2, 3, then they got in a fight and had a big pull apart. And for about a minute and a half, that was fucking great, and the people were going ape shit. So they got that going for them. But the thing that they were milking, we'll get to in a minute, all night, was the Bloodline thing. But we had a Naomi versus Blair Davenport.
I like Naomi. She glows. Makes you feel like you want to glow. Just makes you feel like you have a special aura around you and you want to just get up and move and dance.
Uh-huh. Well, I got up and changed the channel.
You see, you got up. That's what you did the wrong thing in the end, but the whole point is to get you up and moving.
Well, then I moved out of my house to make sure I didn't watch the program accidentally anymore.
Oh, come on.
So then they're doing a thing with Waller and Theory where, Waller was talking about his match with Kevin Owens. Why does Owens get a title shot when all he's done is lose for 4 years and he's running him down? But Owens comes in and said, no, dude, you're right. I don't deserve it. I'm a loser. I'm such an idiot. Let's go prove you right. I'm an easy win. Come on. I'm still thinking that Owens is probably not a fan of this creative. And they go and have a fucking match. And basically Owens beats him 1, 2, 3. And then he beat him up both some more until they posted him and got a couple chairs. And then Cody hits the ring. And the babyfaces beat the heels up some more with chairs. And Cody gets a huge pop and the Cody chants. And whatever they're doing here, Cody goes to pick up the title belt, but Owens grabs it and then hands it to Cody and gives him a pat on the back and walks off. So I still think that some way or another, they're switching Owens heel because they got a ton of baby faces, and look at the state of him. He's still a fat, pudgy, ugly guy.
Plus, if the Bloodline is primarily throughout the year kind of isolated, like they're feuding with each other, it's everyone there doing things with each other, you kind of need other guys to slot in. You got Orton and Gunther now, and you have an Orton heel turn down the road, but you're not there yet.
And speaking of not being there, basically, they also LA Knight did a promo, which he always does well. And Escobar and all the Lucha heels had dinner at a restaurant. And Piper and Chelsea nattered at Mia Yim until the refrigerator came in and beat her up. And the Street Profits had a long match where they beat Ciampa and Same Face.
I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the match.
Why?
I thought it was good. I'm glad the Street Profits actually got a win. I thought they really needed it because they need to do something, and they got B-Fab out there, and they got the crowd really into it. So
what has she done to B-Fab?
Well, you see, she's fine, and she knows she's fine, and she knows she can get it, and she uses that at ringside.
I thought she was fab. Now you're saying she's fine?
She's too fab, and she's helped them get past the doldrums of being managed by Bobby Lashley.
Did you say doldrums?
That's right.
Doldrums of being, well, all right. Anyway, the main event of the evening was a confrontation because all night long they had been milking. Tama Tonga is sucking up in the back to Solo, and he's giving him the Ula Fala, the red lay. And Solo is saying, hey, if Roman Reigns wants this back, then he's going to have to come and take it from me, and he's going to have to acknowledge me, and everybody's going to acknowledge me. All night long in various little clips, and then finally, Solo and where was Tonga Loa? Have they just now?
He went to the wrong building. He went to the wrong building.
He got lost. But Solo and Tama Tonga go to the ring. Eddie tells Orlando to acknowledge him, and of course they boo, and now they're chanting OTC, I guess original tribal chief, right?
That's right.
It's easier to pick out the, what was it, MFT? That didn't take off at all, did it?
2 weeks they gave up on that. Because then people said, well, clearly he's saying my favorite Tongan or whatever it was, but he said my MFT. Then it's my. So no.
And then it's my unless you came from me lie. And then they're still fighting over a lay. My lay.
Well, let's continue with the lay that is SmackDown.
So anyway, Solo says, I know one man that needs to acknowledge me, Roman Reigns, and if you want this, you come out and take it. And Roman's music plays and the crowd fucking roars. And Roman comes out, game face on, and he's not running, he's walking slowly and purposely. Slowly he turns, step by step, inch by inch. And finally, they got the face-off in the ring, and Solo hands the lay to Tama and says, go stand in the corner. And then they just start swinging, and Roman starts kicking the shit out of him. And he levels Solo, and then Tama attacks, and Roman shit cans Tama. And Roman's clearing off the desk, and he's gonna powerbomb Solo or whatever the fuck. And Solo gets on Roman, but Roman ducks the spike and does the Superman punch and hits the big spear. And then he sees the lay, and he picks it up, and the crowd's going crazy. And he puts it on, and the place goes batshit. The next time the AEW World title changes hands and the new champion puts the belt on, see if it gets this big a pop. And then Roman's music starts playing, and there's Jacob Fatu with a super kick. And now, Brian, as I've mentioned before, I'm merely a small-town bird lawyer with only a passing knowledge of the human anatomy and medical fucking procedure. But he don't look like he had a broken leg.
Well, he did have a walking boot on.
Well, he was doing fine with throwing super kicks.
He was throwing super kicks and moving around fine. Which again, if the walking boot is still selling the thing from the from the show and he can move around fine, that tells you something.
And there's Jacob Fatu now. Kicks the shit out of Roman and posts him and gives him the running ass to the face. And Roman sells incredibly with the facial expressions where he looks out of it and he knows how to put shit over. And he's doing a tremendous job. And then they take him out on the floor and they pick him up and they give him the triple power bomb through the announce desk and roll him in the ring and stand over him with the one fingers in the air. So Roman got his big return on pay-per-view, and then he got his big return on national TV, and now they got some heat on him. And son of a gun, they're moving right along here.
What do you think about the fact that two of the biggest programs in WWE are based around a necklace and a bracelet?
Well, that's the thing. If you tell a story that connects with people involving talent that the fans care about, then you can do shit like that. And I mean, think of how many stupid things in the past has the babyface been, attached to that the heel destroyed. Remember the old deal when they brought, it was Bruno, right? They brought a fucking cake from Bruno's fan club and the heel knocked it over in the 60s on TV. Or the Fabulous Ones. They had jackets presented to them by the fans and the goddamn heels came out and tore them up. Or what? It's every place in wrestling. If something means something to the babyface, then the heel needs to steal it or fuck it up. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you can convince people that it's important to the guy that lost it, right?
Right.
Well, there you go.
Well, there you go, SmackDown, and the Bloodline continues.
The last 10 minutes was wonderful.
When do you get Heyman back involved?
Boy, they don't even need him right now. That's the great part about. I mean, I'm not trying to slough Paul off. I'm saying that's the great thing is that they don't even need him now. They can save it for whenever they want when they do.
Yeah. Heyman brings back Brock.
There you go.
Yeah, that's still there. And, I think Heyman being with Brock will help get Brock back into the thing without as much of a problem if he was by himself, considering everything that happened with Pissgate and everything.
Yes. I thought it was Piss Flap. There was a big flap over it.
I don't know why. I don't know why. But that was SmackDown, and this is your show.